Welcome to the Oh So Spurs podcast. Last week, Ange Postecoglou sent his doubters down with a right hook that sent them to the canvas. They got back up again, but he sent them back down to the canvas with a left hook at Old Trafford. And to discuss it all with me today is Deej. How are you, sir?
Doing good. Yeah, I think this has been our best performance of the season.
And we will dive into why exactly that is with Sai in Basel. How are you, Sai?
Good, Jim. All good. Yeah, still smiling from last night.
Good. It was great fun doing the live show with you.
It was good fun, mate.
Especially the closed door one. We kept going afterwards. Johnny, how are you, mate? Great to have you back on. How are you, man?
Oh, buzzing, man. Really, yeah, on cloud nine after yesterday's quality performance, great result, and love to slag off the United supporters at work. So all happy days.
Always very satisfying, isn't it? But let's go straight into the game, shall we? We'll follow it chronologically, as so much happened. But Deej, there was a very early goal, not from a winger, but set up by a centre back who went bombing down the wing. Do you want to talk us through the goal and what you made of Mickey and Brennan's duo performance there?
Yeah, I mean, this is like the second time he's done something that a lot of wingers would put in their season highlight tapes. And it would probably be the one of the star moments, and he's just doing it from center back. It's from the start of the game, we were aggressive, just like we've been trying to be since minute one of Ange ball. And there, Mickey saw an opportunity, he took it. He just used his ridiculous pace to just run past everybody and played a beautiful ball across to Brennan, who tapped it home. 4-4. He's absolutely killing it, and props to him for having the mental fortitude to. I don't know, we've probably said that for the past 4 episodes in a row, but I'll keep mentioning it. He's done fantastic to respond to the criticism the way that he has. But back to Van de Ven, just what a player, what an absolute steal that we got for that guy, and he's only going to continue to get better. He's still so young, and he's just going to add more to his game, and it's so exciting to see him continue to grow, continue to get better, and yeah, he's just the perfect center back for Ange ball. Can't believe we have him.
And Si, as the game rolled on, there was some controversy. There was a red card from Bruno Fernandes, but in between that, there was some pretty good play still. Did you still feel confident we were going to see that game through regardless of that red card?
Yeah, I think to address the red card, first of all, you could see why the ref gave it in real time, because it did look quite nasty in certain angles on the TV. It did, but when you saw it back from another angle, a little bit more slow motion, I think it was a bit harsh. I'm not going with the slip caused him to make that challenge, because I think he slipped and then threw his leg out and made contact. But I don't think it was. I don't think it was dangerous, and I think it was a little bit unlucky. If it happened against us, if that was Kuti getting the red for that, we'd be all up in arms over it. And I think he was a bit unlucky, but I don't think it affected the outcome at all. I think we were by far the most dominant team up until then. And I think, actually, if you look at the stats after, as before, stats were even better before the sending off than they were after the sending off. So I think that Man United would still played into our hands in the second half, and I don't think it affected the outcome at all.
Yeah. Just one thing I want to say, I agree with you on the red card. I don't know. I think it's really dangerous to be results oriented about those kind of tackles. Yeah, he catches him with the heel, not the studs. But if he catches him with the studs, Madison's out for the season. Those tackles can't happen. I think it's completely fair to be a red.
Fair point. Yeah, it's one of those. By the letter of the law, it is a red. So I think even if it if it had gotten away with that and no action had been taken, I think VAR would have likely made it a red card, and then it would be an extremely controversial talking point, because people would go, that's not clear and obvious, but by the letter of the law, it's a red. So you could see why you'd feel a little bit like annoyed if that was us, though, wouldn't you? You'd be like, wasn't really intentionally trying to hurt him, was he? But yeah.
Well, yeah, but that's because everyone every rival fan will be like, yeah, if he got a red, he better have sent a player off injured. That's kind of how people look at it. And if someone doesn't go off, they feel like it's not a bad enough tackle. But that's not how it should be looked at, in my opinion.
VAR looked at that and said that it wasn't a clear and obvious error from the ref, because the ref saw it in real time and saw what he saw. There's enough arguments across all of the podcasts and in the press today as whether it was a red or not a red. So yeah, you can. They go for you sometimes, they go against you sometimes, and guess what? It went against them yesterday. So what?
Do we give VAR some credit though, guys? Like this season, it seems a bit less interfery with what the refs decided on. Or am I just imagining that? No.
I mean, I think it has been better, but it won't get truly like usable to me until they add semi-auto offsides. Once that happens, I think it'll be in a pretty good place, all things considered.
Yeah, which have been delayed until February 2025, I believe, as things stand, for some unknown and unexplained reason.
To do with the tech being installed in some grounds, I think they need more cameras to make that work. I think.
Right, they made it work in the World Cup, all right, didn't they? In the Euros, so
yeah,
we'll see. So the game rolls on. Tottenham go 2-0 up through a beautiful goal from Kulusevski. Johnny has Kulu. I'm going to actually take a minute to apologise to you, Deej. I wanted Kulu gone. I said, 30 million quid. He doesn't even have a role in the team. He can't play wing, can't score. Get him out my football club. Daniel Levy, you miser. You should have bought, I don't know, Doku instead with the money. And it appears Ange and Langer and Paratici, they know more about football than me. And Kulu's found a home, hasn't he, Johnny? He's found a position and he's revelling in it.
It's mad, and going back to the transfer, remember, like, the summer before last, that's just past, Paratici or Levy went back and got an extra 5 mil off the bill as well. So I mean, he's an amazing signing. I know we did have those conversations in the summer, and we all felt that okay, right wing. He's not really got a long-term future in the team at right wing because of primarily because of the pace, I guess. But he offers so much with his skill set. But with the confidence that he's got now, playing the position that he's happiest and he's the most effective, he's like been undoubtedly our most important and most consistently impressive player of the season. But the combination of himself and Madison is obviously not only enabling Kulusevski to perform, but he's really making a difference to Madison as well. And Madison's really getting back. I mean, I was giving it to Madison. You weren't the only one whinging, Jim. I was giving it to Madison a few weeks ago as well. He's still got that sort of gurney kind of side to him, which opposition fans don't like. But between the two of them, like the kind of I suppose making it much harder for the opponent to be able to keep the pressure on, close down the players. So, but I think that Kulusevski surprised me. It's not so much because we know he's got the technical close control. He can hold the ball in tight spaces and stuff, and he can beat players with skills. Really, really impressive footwork. But his passing has been really, really impressive. Like his incisive, like key passing has been really, really impressive. And I think that he was definitely man of the match yesterday. Like he's really properly making a brilliant combination there with Madison. And I think shout out to Bentancur is I don't know what the story is with that disciplinary hearing, because we look like after talking for the last year, what's our best midfield? I think we know what our best midfield is now after the last couple of weeks. But Kulusevski, the finish for the second goal was superb. Really, really just showing a player with confidence to lift that ball over Onana. He made 3 big chances in the course of the game, and he created 9 chances overall, which is absolutely insane. And he probably should have had 2 assists because he got 1 assist, and then the other one was for our friend from Germany who fluffed one of his several opportunities. But I mean, yeah, Decky is brilliant, and I'm so happy for him. I love his attitude as a player. He's not got an ego. He's just got great work ethic. I love the way he's like bros with Lucas Bergwall, and all of those things. He's just quality. So again, just like VDV, really, really lucky to have him, and I think he's going to be a really big part of our season.
Indeed, you
also, Jim.
Go on, sorry.
One of the things I think, if you look at the average positions, the heat maps, you'll notice that over the last 3 or 4 games that Udogie and Porro have kept a little bit wider than they have done in the past. They're not inverting so much. This is giving Madison and Kulusevski far more space in that part of the park operate the way that they want to as well. And, this is from our, plan A, do plan A better manager. He's got no alternatives to the way that he sets teams up. It's definitely been a tactical change over the last few games, is to keep them wider and create that extra space in the middle of the park for those two to have more of a free rein. And it's clearly paying dividends. And Madison's even playing that little bit deeper, and Kulusevski's playing that little bit further forward. And they're just playing off each other really nicely, and they've got the space to do it.
And then talking of link-up play and players playing well, then the next man who's slotted in, Deej, Dom, what do you make of him?
He has been, we've all, like Ange told us to do, we all did some yoga, and I guess Jim's going to do some more yoga right now. But we took a breath, and wow, after 3 games of not scoring, our striker scored 3 and 3 now. He's seems to have hit the ground running, and this has definitely been, I think, his best performance in a Tottenham shirt. He was, even before the goal, I would have probably said that, considering he was absolutely everywhere the entire game. Man United's backline did not have a moment of rest before Solanke was there, just on their back, forcing them to make bad passes, forcing them to make quick decisions that weren't the best ones, and generally just being the spearhead of our press that we need that forward to be. I'm not going to say that we've replaced Harry Kane, because you can't replace that player like Harry Kane, but we've found a player that fits Ange ball perfectly, and that is just so important to have. And that player, is Dom Solanke. Even like with the goal, it a tap in, whatever, but that requires a striker's instinct to move to where you think the ball is going to go. Everyone else is moving in the other direction. There's a reason he's the only one there to kick the ball, that it goes through a whole crowd of players, and he's the only one who's there to tap it home. That's something that takes a lot of time, and is the hallmark of a good striker, is being in the right position a lot of the time. And he clearly knows how to do that. And as the season goes on, he's just going to get himself into more and more good positions. And especially as we're finding our goal scoring form, I wouldn't be, this is his best performance of the season so far, but even by the end of the year, it might not be in his top 3 the way that he's playing right now.
It's and even Kane, right, guys? Like, when from the age of he scored screams and stuff when he was young. I don't remember like Kane in his 27 to 30 kind of period scoring many like amazing belters outside the box. It was always like intelligent build-up play that made his game so good, and those brilliant like 30-yard crosses, their cross like switching play or tap-ins. Lots and lots and lots of very clever tap-ins, and he was called a tap-in merchant. But when you refine it to such a level that you can do it 30 times in a season, really doesn't matter. If you can refine it to that much, you're going to make a huge difference to whatever side you're playing for. Any other observations on the game in particular anyone wanted to bring up? Anyone was particularly passionate about from that performance?
The thing I would say, which I think is really significant, is about Jed Spence coming in and doing what he did. And it happened against Coventry, and it's happened again. So I think, again, going back to the summer when we're having our conversations about the squad and where we need to strengthen, where our issues lie, and as it was specifically or particularly because Spence is really a right-sided full-back, he's come in when Udogie's taken a knock, and he's done, not for the first time, a job on the left-hand side. And it's just, I suppose it was not only encouraging to see him coming in there and being really being very effective, but also just, I think I really like kind of his demeanor when he's on the pitch. Like, he's working really hard. He seems confident and determined, and he looks like a player who's out to prove something now. And clearly, we've got some issues, with fitness and so on at the back, especially, I guess the Europa League squad is another thing that kind of we will now look at with even greater regret when we see what Spence is able to do and how that's going at the moment. But in terms of covering both sides, that's really, really important. And maybe in January there'll be another look at that from the point of view of, it's still going to be an area where there's work that could be done. But I think it's maybe not the most obvious thing when you're looking at some really superb performances. The only other thing, I don't want to be hogging other people's potential suggestions, but I think, especially in absence of our esteemed friend from Netherlands, Burnley, Milan, and Dubai. That would be Stu Burrows. He's obviously the greatest champion of Vicario, and Vicario made one amazing save from Xerxes, was full outstretched arm. Also, what I really liked about Vicario yesterday was like when I know United might not have been playing very well, but he did look really confident and composed, and anything that came into the box, he was able to deal with, and he kind of looked a lot more confident than he has done recently. I think the way that he came out and just sort of a little bit more reassurance for the defense, the way he was kind of sort of commanding that 6 yard area and clutching balls from the air. So I think those two players may go under the radar, but I think both of those are significant as well for looking down to the next game and beyond.
I think just a note of caution, we don't want to get too carried away with the result. It seems we don't get too down about some of the previous results, even though the performances have been good. We've still got to get more clinical in front of goal. You have 9 big chances and you miss 6 of them against a team that can actually play a bit better than this team can. We're going to need to be putting away goals a little bit better than that. And it's starting to click. You're starting to see exactly players playing because they believe in it, not because they're being told to do so. And I think there's still loads more to come. But we need to be getting a bit more clinical in front of goal. Even though we won 3-0, and I'm not on a downer over it because I'm still well happy after yesterday. There's still some things there that I think Ange will be looking at that he'll definitely will.
Yeah. I think that there's always room for improvement after basically any performance. But I think that the fixes for the misses, one of it is just having Son back and healthy. He's been our most clinical finisher for
one-on-one.
Yes, he's been our most clinical finisher for a few years now, and I don't think that's changed. I also think that having Solanke and Johnson finding their form will be very helpful. Solanke just, getting used to playing in the Ange system. He's a year behind everyone else in the front line. Mm-hmm. So he's taken a little bit longer to bed into the system. So having him getting up to speed, as it seems, not just in the press, but also in where to be and to get those goal scoring opportunities that he's put himself in recently has been very good. Mm-hmm. And obviously Johnson, 4 and 4, finding the confidence to score and also being put in positions that he is more confident and I think better suited towards will also help our goal scoring. And that's without a whole lot of scoring help from our midfield now that we play essentially 5 players that I would feel comfortable taking a shot from anywhere inside or outside the 18, really. Yeah. I think that the goal scoring will continue to flow, especially that we've got more creativity that having Kulusevski and Madison provides.
And Johnson's definitely been doing the drills for that right foot shot to the left-hand corner, isn't he? I mean, you're seeing that again and again. He hit the post. He went close when Solanke could have had a... was it Solanke could have had a tap in? Or no, it was Werner, wasn't it? Werner could have had a tap in if it wasn't for that interception by the Man United right back. It was a lovely ball to the far post, and Werner was just waiting to tap it in, and it was cleared. So they've definitely been practicing that move without doubt.
So I think it was fair to say it's starting to click. It's not fully clicked, but there's lots to be optimistic about because the big click is getting closer every single week we seem to play. And hey, when was the last time we won? 5 games on the bounce? Like I want to take this topic just before I know we've done this a few times before, but I find it infuriating, baffling, and so many other things that we find a segment of our own supporter base feeling disappointed we won because they would rather show that Ange was the wrong decision and Johnson was rubbish and we were going to fail. But if those people are wrong, and it used to be, it doesn't matter who we appointed, we could appoint Sam Allardyce tomorrow. Used to be, everyone at the club would be like, we're going to win the bloody league now. We're going to win the lot. And if anyone tells us otherwise, I'm going to fight you on the internet and just argue with you and defend my team to the hill. Now, your biggest enemy is the other half of your own fan base who have taken an opposite stance and don't want to believe it. And it's not just us. It seems to be all the clubs. This must be social media. I don't know.
It's got to
baffling.
be social media amplifies it, right? Because you don't hear that in the ground.
No.
And
Yeah,
you certainly
'cause
didn't
when-
hear. Certainly didn't hear it yesterday when they were singing Brennan Johnson's name and Mickey Moore's name and the noise from the away support yesterday. So I think it's a really vocal, amplified minority that, you know, looking for the clicks, looking for the debate, looking for the whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you say something like that at a Tottenham bar, a pub, you get shut down. You get told to go to the corner. Maybe someone has a scrap with you, and you get sent home with a bloody nose. But you say that on the internet, and all the other people who came home from the bar with bloody noses are like, this guy's saying something. So
Yeah.
I think it's social media because it gives them a permission structure to be able to say these things that I don't know, just are antithetical to being a fan, in my opinion.
Wasn't there that guy? There's a guy, funny one on Twitter or something, and he calls out like a heavyweight boxer, didn't he? He was like, "Your missus is well ugly" or something, and he was like, "Come say this to my face." He's like, "No, you'd beat the shit out of me. That's why I said it to you on the internet." And then the boxer goes, "Oh, fair enough."
Yeah, sure.
But I kind of feel like it's a bit like that. Like a lot of these people we squabble with the internet, you go for a pint with them, we all get along perfectly well. It just makes it so even more infuriating that we wind each other up this. But anyway, let's part that topic because it's a boring, negative one. Do we touch on Brighton or do we save it for the next one, guys?
I think we probably save it. Let's
Yeah.
enjoy.
Let's enjoy a bit more of the
Just
Man
enjoy
United
this
talk
one.
then, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. Man of the match votes. Do we fancy a bit of that? It's a bit of a tough one to choose for that game,
Not so
isn't it,
much, I
guys?
don't think.
Johnny's gone for Kulu. Anyone disagree with Johnny?
No, I'm Decky all the way there, man.
You're Decky.
Yeah,
I'm going to talk about a dark horse in a minute. Go on,
I don't know. There's so many players that I think played so well. Even I think the player that I think that everyone would agree probably had our worst performance of the day. I think still had a decent game. He just can't seem to allow himself to be a part of a goal creating move. But yeah, I mean, I think Van de Ven, obviously incredible. Kulusevski, I think probably for me has to be the man of the match. I think he ran the whole game. I think Madison did fantastically. Yeah. I think Bentancur is back to his best. I think he just silky smooth the player that we fell in love with when he first came from Juve. He seems to finally be ramping back up from the series of unfortunate injuries. Romero, obviously, don't think he really put a foot wrong today. Yeah, everyone just.
So you've gone
fantastic.
for 8 man of the matches.
Yeah.
They could split it.
Yeah. Split it. I was going to say, I think Vicario made a few really good saves at points in the game that made that game feel a lot more comfortable. Like a point, we let's not lie, on the live stream, we were like a little bit squeaky bum. When you can never fully enjoy a game of football unless you're 5-0 up at half time, can you? But we were still going like, oh, it's only a 1-goal lead for 30 minutes. And they'd have a couple of breaks and we'd go, oh, and Vicario made that really low save reaction. Was it, I can't remember, was it Garnacho?
It was Xerxes.
No, Xerxes.
It was Xerxes. And that, if you watch the replay, it really nearly went under his glove.
Mm.
Really, if that had gone in, suddenly.
Yeah.
So I thought Vicario's had a good shout, but you can't really give it to a keeper when you win 3-0. But Madison, he's back to the Madison we had at the start of this first season. Just praying he doesn't go to the second half season.
You just can't get injured.
That too.
I also just one more thing. I also like the fact that Ange put Dragusin on for the last 9 minutes. I think it's just that, right, get that out of your system. Then during the week, you're on now, last 9 minutes. I know there was no real reason to take Mickey off. You're not going to gain much by resting him for 9 minutes. And I think that was totally designed to say, listen, I've still got you, mate. On you go.
Yeah.
And put the other night behind you.
Yeah. So, do you guys expect? I'll announce it. We're going to be previewing the game against Ferenc. Oh my gosh! I actually learned Ferenc. They are top of the Hungarian league. I don't want to mock it. Any team that's top of a country's league has some people who can score good goals in a football match, right? So. if the competition was so easy, we'd have won it several times in the last 20 years, but we haven't for a reason, because these kind of teams always seem to catch us out when we walk in complacency, expecting to steamroll them. We'll be previewing that with a journalist from Hungary who knows a lot about this team, thanks to Johnny's connections. So I hope you can all tune in for that tomorrow. But this was just a little bit of Tottenham appreciation after a brilliant performance, and to thank all the other people who also backed Ange Postecoglou, because whilst we're on this winning run, let's enjoy it and savor it and rub it in his doubters' faces.
It was a bit I don't know, having this come today, or I guess yesterday, was such a good timing after that whole conversation about whether or not Ange Ball's too easy to play against. I don't think that United had a good time. I don't think it was very easy for them. So having this to continue to prove that wrong. I think,
It's
if
funny
you watch
though,
the games,
when you're looking at the build up to a match like this in the media and so on, and obviously we're both locked in 7 points in the table, and a lot of people, and I think it's understandable that you're looking at those two sides and think, well, they're both big clubs. Obviously, United have been a sort of mammoth club, in recent history, not so much in the last few years, but they've still come away with trophies. Um, it's kind of like, okay, these are two pretenders to the top four. United have signed some really good players, actually. And it's now the narrative after what happened yesterday is like gone into this like obsession about how awful they were, how Ten Hag is on, beyond borrowed time. And that's where I guess that's what maybe sucks in the views and the clicks, far more than saying about how well we played and so on. But it is less than 2 weeks since we were so really bad against Coventry, and everyone was out for Ange. Like Si was saying before, like we kind of need to look at these things with a bit of perspective and not get too carried away. And like you said, Jim, enjoy it when it comes along. But it does make a bit of a mockery of people who are so kind of knee jerk in the way that they respond to things. And in my opinion, like I think that one of the things I've enjoyed listening to from like the outside of Spurs circle, both in terms of other just generic football fans who I would know personally, and also in the media, is actually what's happening at Tottenham is a really interesting kind of way of playing football. It's really exciting to watch. It looks like it might be successful. We're going to wait and see. It's a little bit less patronizing and a little bit more respectful, I think, of the possibility that something could happen. And I think that's probably how we should all look at it. I think probably all the four of us are a bit more optimistic because that's what we should be, because it's our team, that I think we all believe that we're going to end up crossing the line and lifting a trophy or two or more under Ange. And I know I definitely do. But it's not. It's just crazy the way that the whole thing changes, and I don't feel sorry for United, and I don't feel sorry for Ten Hag, but like it's kind of it is a BS, isn't it? Like just the way from this 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon to 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon, how everything changes. In the way that everyone looks at a club, and it's just nonsense. It's really ridiculous.
We've all seen it with guys. You play Man United, Liverpool, and the whole build-up is about them. And the post-game, if you beat them, is how bad they were. It's never about how good Tottenham were. And it's because it's going to sell. Like, more people get joy from the idea of Man United being in a downward spiral than they do in Tottenham rising and being good. So common sense just says, let's sell that narrative. That's going to sell more papers. Tottenham doing well is only going to make Tottenham fans happy. Tottenham doing badly is going to make 19 of the other 20 Premier League clubs fans laugh and have some fun.
Yeah.
So why would they build a story around little old Tottenham? Whereas when Man United, Liverpool do well, they are such a big portion of the fan bases across the Premier League that they can get a way of selling that narrative and bigging them up and making it all good. Anyway, guys, better jump. It's been a pleasure, as always, especially after 5 wins. Let's chat after 6, shall we? And discuss the 7th.
Isn't it 4 wins?
4 wins, Jim.
Yeah, only until Thursday night, though.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Ooh.
Yeah, of course. That's what you meant.
Where's your positivity? You're as bad as that purple and gold lot. You are.
Oh, it's so you.
Oh, right, mate. Yeah, no, 4 wins. Oh, 4 wins. That's quite good, doesn't it? Right.
See you tomorrow, lads.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah, see you tomorrow.
See you
Up
tomorrow.
the
Up the
Spurs.
Come
Go
on, you
Spurs.
Spurs.
Guys.